I've had conversations with people about it, and it's like, Jesus, like just trying to get the documents, like when they're trying to get the Epstein files, like the state of New York, one of the district attorneys was hiding documents that have forced them to give documents. I think there's so many powerful people that are on those lists. There's so many powerful people that went and partied, air quotes, partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh yeah.
Trials. Wild.
With Ghislaine, with Epstein, with Diddy. Either Diddy's gonna commit suicide, either he's going to be hiding somewhere that we won't hear about for many, many years, or he's gonna be O.J. Simpson and he'll be released and said, I told you I was as innocent. I told you nothing happened. I told you I was this. Or he's gonna go to jail and spend the rest of his life in jail. Not likely, because he has access to a lot of information on a lot of people that make a lot of money for people in Hollywood. Do they want those people to be gone?
The case against Sean Diddy Combs is falling apart quickly. Every day brings shocking new information to light and puts famous people, like Cassie Ventura, in the public eye. Because of Cassie's case, a darker, more in-depth story came to light. People aren't just doing wrong anymore. It's starting to look like a big web of control, manipulation, and secret. And a lot of people are making comparisons to the famous Epstein case.
Is not just about sex trafficking, one victim, and it's just about more than sex trafficking. The RICO, feds are accusing him of multiple acts of kidnapping, arson, witness tampering, bribery, forced labor, intent to distribute narcotics, and more.
It has been months since Diddy's case made the news. Now it has taken a dark turn and is even more dangerous. It looks like Diddy wasn't acting alone the more study that is done. There are more and more rumors of a secret network like the one that was behind Epstein. People are starting to wonder if there is a major lobby keeping him in the shadows. Will they pull the ropes to get rid of everything? Or will they attack him as soon as he seems like a threat? The stakes are bigger than ever, and the plot goes deep. Now things get even worse in the story. Patrick bet, people looked at David TBD funny when he brought up something that many people think is too strange to be a chance. The main prosecutor in Diddy's case is the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey. Comey was recently in the news for saying something that some people saw as a hidden reference to the murder of Donald Trump, which made things worse. Damon Williams, the previous prosecutor, mysteriously resigned from the case, with whispers saying he was quietly removed. The question now is why, and who stands to gain. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. This is no longer just about Diddy.
Way too many things that are coming out right now, especially when you think about the lead prosecutor. It was supposed to be Damian Williams, who he resigns December of 2024. He says, no, I'm not going to be dealing with this case on Epstein. And he's been on the Epstein, on Diddy, and he's been on the lead prosecutor for Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and a lot of other things. And then the person that replaces the lead prosecutor to prosecute Diddy is Maureen Comey. Maureen Comey is the daughter of James Comey. James Comey, just a week ago, posted 8647. He found these beautiful shells, seashells that says 86 accidentally. Of course, he would never do such a thing. And he posts these 8647 shells, and then his daughter is the lead prosecutor for Diddy. And Diddy has all this information to other.
PBD went a step further, asking a hypothesis that is already reverberating around the internet. Might the Diageo connection be the very protection that has kept Diddy safe for nearly 2 decades? He has supposedly been involved in these nefarious operations for almost 17 years, but no big case has been filed until lately. Why? PBD thinks that Diddy wasn't simply lucky. He may have been protected.
Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settle out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court. While details still remain sealed, the settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 to 2024, 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer, forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any accusations. All we know is Could this have been a...
And when that protection, possibly because to his strong commercial links with Diageo, was removed following the litigation and quiet settlement, the floodgates erupted. Diddy's mansion was raided just 2 months after the secret arrangement. The time is too perfect. Was Diageo the quiet shield all along? And when it came down, did the powers that be decide it was finally open season on Diddy?
Where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and are like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing is kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here. The only thing that the timing's kind of crazy is January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember what we're sitting there doing and minding our own business? And you hear, March of 2024, the feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home. For what?
Even Joe Rogan couldn't stay silent on the subject on his show, echoing the rising belief that higher powers are pulling the strings behind the scenes. Rogan made a scary connection to the Epstein case, reminding listeners that even district attorneys were found concealing important records to protect the wealthy.
I had conversations with people about it, and it's like, Jesus, like just trying to get the documents, like when they're trying to get the Epstein files, like the state of New York, one of the district attorneys was hiding documents that have forced them to give documents. I think there's so many fucking powerful people that are on those lists. There's so many powerful people that went and partied.
He suggested that something similar could be happening here, and that Diddy's fabled parties may have been more than just celebrity gatherings. According to Rogan, there's a good probability that some very prominent people were regulars at those parties, and as the trial heats up, the concern isn't just about Diddy's fate. It's about who else might be exposed along the way.
Quotes, air quotes, party. And how many of them went to the Diddy party? Have you been paying attention to the trial?
Oh, yeah.
Trials. Wild.
Joe Rogan did not mince words. He speculated that Diddy could end up rotting in jail for the rest of his life if things continue as they are. But then came the twist. Rogan and his guest also warned that this case could follow the same eerie pattern as the Epstein saga. Despite explosive allegations of child trafficking and elite involvement, Epstein's trial never fully brought justice, as no important participants were ever held accountable. Rogan questioned whether Diddy's case is following the same pattern. Tremendous news, explosive claims, and then nothing.
He's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get
Think he's
hit up.
insane though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters. I mean, it's a lot of it is.
But then it's just another
There's-
Epstein.
there's
It's another
murder
Ghislaine Maxwell, where
there's
somebody
murder
gets indicted
cases.
and nobody else. Indicted for trafficking kids to...
right.
No.
To know.
Joe even claimed that Diddy might not have been the brains behind it all. He questioned how one man could devise such a complicated system for drugging celebrities, organizing crazy parties, and arranging what some have dubbed freak-offs. Rogan noted that Diddy couldn't have done it all on his own. The size, access, and secrecy all point to something bigger. Maybe Diddy wasn't simply the ringleader. Perhaps he worked with someone else, or worse,
Crazy. Now, if that's not an intelligence agency operation, it's just an evil super genius who figures out how to compromise everybody by providing this crazy freak off party. Everybody's got to put their phones away. Okay, we're going to put our phone away. No one's going to know anything. Yeah, I mean, he's going to get cameras everywhere. It's just one guy doing that. What a diabolical human being.
Yeah.
He seems pretty diabolical.
He's probably working with somebody. Or for somebody.
Maybe.
And maybe he just got too far out there.
Someone that came out in the trial, though, like he's forcing his girlfriend to have sex with prostitutes while he was sitting there jacking off with a bandana on. She'd rub the jizz on his nipples. Like, what are we even talking about?
maybe he worked for someone else. Joe Rogan went even deeper, suggesting that these parties were more than just wild celebrity gatherings. He said that this may have been a planned system of control. Get these superstars into a room, present them to the pandemonium, say, look, even Bill Clinton has been here, normalize the crazy, and then gradually push them over the edge using drugs, pressure, and influence. Once they're compromised, get everything on tape and use it as leverage. According to Rogan, this wasn't just Diddy's playground. It may have been a setup meant to own individuals and keep them under control indefinitely.
Well, it would be a
'Cause he had the
great way
juice
to,
on
to
lot of people.
compromise celebrities. Yeah.
Yeah.
And get them to say whatever you want them to do, get them to do whatever projects you'd like them to do. And, you know, if you're a bunch of other celebrities are there, you're like, oh, look, Bill Clinton's here. This is fine.
Yeah.
This is cool. Look at this. Like, Brad Pitt's here. Well, this is cool. You don't even think there's anything wrong with being there. Meanwhile, you're getting drugged up and filmed. And then they're passing out punch. Have some punch, Aaron. And you have some punch, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling really good. I just feel amazing. You're all mollied up. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Probably a combination of things they give you.
And it's all being filmed.
Even while some celebrities have hinted that someone or something considerably more powerful is pulling the strings behind Diddy, the details emerging from the trial are very scary in and of themselves. One witness, a man who identified himself as a sex worker, took the stand and gave a surprising statement. He claimed to have been hired several times by Sean Diddy Combs, but what he described greatly exceeded anyone's hopes. According to his statement, he was frequently told to have sex with Diddy's then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, as Diddy watched from the shadows. The entire courtroom was shocked.
Heard from a man who described himself as managing a male review show from 2012 to 2013, says his boss called him to go to a hotel in Manhattan where he met Cassie Ventura at the door. He says she was dressed in a red wig, red lingerie, and essentially gave him $4,000 with the intent that he was going to have sex with her. He also noted that Sean Combs, he said that first encounter was off to the side and watched Cassie Ventura and this male review show manager have sex and masturbated as it was happening.
The witness went on to explain how these interactions were not brief or isolated, lasting anywhere from an hour to 10 hours. What made it even more troubling was the idea that Diddy frequently recorded the act himself with either his phone or a camera. These were not just personal interests, they were documented. The news sent shockwaves through the courtroom, leaving even experienced lawyers noticeably rattled. Interview 12. Amidst the frantic back and forth in court, additional names appeared, adding a fresh and unexpected twist to an already convoluted web. The defense brought Kid Cudi and Michael B. Jordan into the conversation, hinting that Cassie may have had a personal connection or touch with them. This, they argue, may have sparked intense jealousy in Diddy, exacerbating the instability behind the scenes.
Talked about several instances where he would have sex with Cassie Ventura and that Sean Combs would be off in the corner watching. He said sometimes these meetings would last anywhere from an hour to 10 hours, and even said that Sean Combs recorded some of this on his cell phone or a camcorder. The beginning of opening statements, though, really focused on what this case is about, according to the prosecution, which is sex trafficking and racketeering, saying that Sean Combs led a criminal enterprise so that he could partake in sexual acts with people based on coercion and bribery, kidnapping.
The defense then went a step further, saying Cassie had been disloyal, specifically to Kid Cudi. They focused on one particular freakout session, describing it as a key moment in the entire event. According to their story, it was during this encounter that Diddy found Cassie's personal relationship with Kid Cudi. The argument shattered Diddy's idea of control, which was driven by betrayal and jealousy. The defense said Diddy snapped, resulting in a heated argument that quickly escalated into a physical battle between him and Cassie.
Yesterday, Andy, about other celebrities and if other names were going to be brought into this. Well, yeah, we heard today about Kid Cudi and jealousy issues with Kid Cudi and Cassie being together and hooking up. We heard about Michael B. Jordan and Cassie possibly having a relationship that angered Diddy. So again, there were these themes of distrust and of cheating in the relationship that seemed to go both ways.
David James Sean Diddy Combs' former assistant also entered the stand, and his statement left the audience astonished and clearly moved. David pulled back the curtain on what it's truly like to work with one of the industry's greatest companies. He noticed that on his first day, HR did not sugarcoat anything. They just told him, "This is Diddy's kingdom. We're all here to serve him." That chilling comment wasn't just a warning, it was the rule of law in Diddy's world. From that moment on, David said he understood exactly what kind of setting he had stepped into, and it only got darker from there. We also heard today from a personal assistant to Holmes who became emotional on the witness stand when he told about his interview with Bad Boy Records to become his personal. David went on to show a truly troubling dynamic of control, manipulation, and terror. He detailed occasions when he gently pulled Cassie aside, trying to encourage her to leave away from the toxic world she was stuck in. Diddy had his grasp over every element of her life, including her work, money, and the place she lived in. It wasn't just emotional manipulation, it was total domination. Cassie, he explained, wasn't just in a horrible relationship. She was imprisoned in a system from which freedom seemed impossible.
Another point that's been important is this relationship with a man by the name of Kid Cudi, in which Cassie, according to the testimony, was taking part in one of these freak-offs when Sean Combs found out that she was quote-unquote cheating on him with this man you're looking at right here, Kid Cudi. She was in one of those freak-offs, and then Sean got a hold of her phone and then realized that they had been having a relationship together, and she said that that did not go over very well, to say the least. So one of the other things that defense counsel has been saying back and forth with Cassie, when Cassie is responding with things like, I can't recall, it's a long time ago. At one point, defense counsel said, yeah, it was a long time ago, and it sounds like you were doing a lot of drug.
Don Richards' alarming claim that Diddy warned her that anyone who opposed him would go missing bears much more weight now that it could have really happened. Investigative journalist Ian Carroll recently discovered a highly alarming discovery that has placed a dark, foreboding shadow over the entire case. Diddy's third claimed victim, a woman who had freely stepped forward to testify against him, has suddenly gone without a trace. Her identity had been kept hidden for her own safety. But Carroll says she simply disappeared. No communication, no updates, no trace of her anywhere. The time is scary.
Also testified about an exchange she had with Ventura in which he talked to her about leaving this chaotic, crazy lifestyle. And Ventura told him, James testified, that she couldn't leave because Combs was in charge of her career and her money and her apartment, and so she couldn't leave. He'll be back on the witness stand tomorrow. It was interesting, when he was leaving the courtroom, he looked over at Combs, he nodded at him, and Combs nodded back toward him. This testimony clearly not helpful for Combs' defense case.
Adding fuel to an already burning fire, Big Homie, a former associate who worked closely with Diddy, has emerged in the news with startling charges of his own. In a recent talk, he was candid. Big Homie claimed that Diddy has a long history of making people disappear, and he cautioned the public that what we're seeing today is only the tip of the iceberg, the beginning of something far worse. He added that one person who had allegedly come forward with critical proof had abruptly departed, leaving no trace and no answers. This, he claimed, is consistent with Don Richards' fears about threats and disappearances. Big Homie was straightforward and direct. He thinks unusual things will continue to happen inside and outside the courtroom. And he added with a tone that sent chills down listeners' spines, things have already started.
It turned out that victim 3, unknown, we don't know who it is, but victim 3 apparently is missing. Just a few weeks ago, victim 3 came forward, or didn't come forward, but said that they were willing to testify in the trial. And though we don't know who it is, it obviously was important to the case because they were going to put victim 3 on the stand. And then just before this all came together and before Diddy took the stand, victim 3 apparently was out of communication and we do not know where they are. My thought immediately went to the girl Allie that is sharing all the salacious stuff. I went and looked her up and she's still posting on TikTok as not her. So I don't know what to make of it. I don't know who victim 3 is. I'm sure we can all come up with some crazy conspiracy theories about what's going on there. Diddy's side is hoping for a mistrial just because they don't have one of their witnesses. That is extremely unlikely, but it is possibly going to cause some delays and it might actually impact the ability to prosecute Diddy. I presume that Diddy is pulling.
Big Homie did not hold back when commenting on the case, speaking with a tone of sadness and gravity. He laid it all out, saying that when a man with Diddy's fame, riches, and influence becomes addicted to drugs, power, or his worst dreams, he not only loses control, but also himself. Big Homie did not sugarcoat what he thinks Diddy has become. He described the alleged activities as more than just blunders or breaches of judgment, but as proof of something considerably more sinister and dangerous. He is evil, Big Homie stated. Frankly, his behavior is awful. As a result, many people's views of the music mogul deteriorated even worse.
A gentleman like this, from affluence and power, whenever they have an addiction to MDMA or the drug ecstasy, they call it the love drug. So he's been doing this drug for over 20 years. So that's gonna lead his view skewed when it comes to sexual activity. I believe it's helped turn him into a sexual deviant. And, you know, what type of man wants to see another man urinate in his wife's mouth? I feel like it's evil. I think his behavior is egregious. And, you know, I have a history of using very heinous acts on people like this who participate in this type of lascivious.
All of this goes to the unsettling likelihood that Diddy was not acting alone behind the scenes. Someone considerably more powerful may have not only witnessed or enjoyed Diddy's warped empire, but also helped design it, and they may still be trying to protect him. This isn't just about loyalty, it's about power on a scale that most people can't fathom. Power capable of silencing witnesses, swaying narratives, and turning anyone against anyone, all in order to keep their own name hidden in the shadows. The real puppet master, it appears, may still be out there, observing, moving, and ensuring that the spotlight never shines on them while this explosive case continues. Sean Diddy Combs may not have been the brain behind everything. On the surface, it appears that he was acting alone, building a twisted empire fueled by wealth, ego, and unchecked power. But when the dots are connected, disappearing witnesses, sealed settlements, elite connections, and eerie parallels to the Epstein case, a much darker picture emerges, much like Epstein's. Diddy's ascension and protection appear almost too deliberate, to carefully shield it, to be the product of a one person. The same whispers that preceded Epstein now reverberate through Diddy's trial. Strong names hidden behind NDAs, legal shields, and abrupt silences. If history has taught us anything, it's that predators with power rarely work alone. They're usually sponsored, paid, and protected by a dark network of people with something to gain, something to lose, and everything to hide. So, while Diddy stands in the spotlight absorbing the public outrage, we have to ask the harder question: who's still operating in the dark, who helped build this system, who's making sure the worst truths never reach the light? Because if this case ends the same way Epstein's did, unfinished, unresolved, with key figures untouched, it won't just be a failure of justice, it will be confirmation that some people are too powerful to fall and some secrets too dangerous to expose. This isn't just about Diddy anymore, it's about the machine behind him, the same machine that once kept Epstein safe until it didn't. And if we don't keep watching, questioning, and demanding answers, we'll keep protecting monsters while letting victims disappear into silence. But now we turn the question to you: do you really believe Diddy orchestrated all of this on his own, or is there someone else lurking behind the scenes, more powerful and more protected than we can imagine? Could this be yet another Epstein-level cover-up, where one man takes the fall while the real puppet masters stay hidden in the shadows? The signs are all there: disappearances, threats, and power plays. So what are your thoughts? Is Diddy truly the creator, or is he simply the face of something far darker? Let us know what you think in the comments, and stay tuned because this story is far from